And so Watches and Wonders 2024 is behind us. As expected, it was a bit of a mixed bag, with one commentator aptly describing it as watches and blunders. The brands we expected to deliver did, and the ones that we feared wouldn't, well, they didn't. After some analysis, we thought it might be interesting to bring you my 5 highs and my 5 lows from the show, plus my wild card, which may have slipped under your radar and could be the one to buy if you're a watch enthusiast. Stay with me for all the facts. I've been collecting watches for 38 years, which is a bit scary when you say it out loud. And in that time I've bought some gems and some bloopers. And I thought I'd apply this non-scientific analytical philosophy to the new releases for Watches and Wonders 2024. And I'm going to start with the Panerai Luna Rossa Special Edition collection. I've never seen a Panerai that I really liked before, but this new collection has caught my imagination. If you're not familiar with the America's Cup, it's akin to Formula One on water, with multi-million-dollar yachts that weigh nothing racing at eye-watering speeds. To be associated with any of the teams is a real accolade. Panerai is the chosen brand of the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team, and their new submersible range in team colours was released at Watches and Wonders. In this striking range we have several models. First is a 20-piece limited Tourbillon GMT Experience Edition, then a neatly sized steel 42mm Luna Rossa Special Edition diver with a blue sunburst dial, and finally a GMT. All use either a space-age composite material case, just like the yacht, steel, or a new ceramic mix developed by Panerai, which is 40% lighter than steel. The bezels are titanium with some DLC coated, so despite the obvious beauty, these watches are built to take the knocks, with each one being tested up to 25% greater depth than advertised. These watches are arguably the most striking Panerai to date, and mirror the looks of the Red Bull Tudor Pelagos America's Cup, which by coincidence is possibly the best looking Pelagos. Maybe this is the answer. Watches designed in cooperation with racing yacht teams look great and are technical marvels. Accompanying the Panerai watches are 2 straps, a Luna Rossa bi-material strap and a rubber strap which mirrors the carbon hull of the boat. And if you want that essential racing yacht look for your watch, then we have plenty of water-compatible straps over at WatchGecko.com. My first miss of the show is Rolex, so let's get it out the way now so we can talk about more interesting brands. We all predicted a poor turnout from Rolex, and to be honest, it's been just that, which breaks my heart as a lifelong wearer. I'm not saying the new GMT Master 2 with its black and grey bezel isn't really attractive, because it is, but it doesn't merit fanfare and lacks imagination, and the prices are spiralling ever more out of control. The 1908 is justifiably getting some praise because there's clearly so much work gone into it, but it's not for me. However, my major clangor is reserved for the solid gold Deep Sea. What a ridiculous watch. It is in every measurable way a monstrosity, and unless you're auditioning for the role of the chief bad guy in a Miami Vice reboot, I can't think who it's aimed at. Enough said, we move on. My second hit is the Tudor Black Bay. For many pundits, the top spot was taken by the new 39mm Black Bay 58 GMT. Here we see a resurgence of the classic Coke bezel, although it's described as burgundy. Paired with the black dial and gold indices, minute track and numerals, it's an almost aesthetically perfect package. Considering it's relatively affordable at just £3,770 for the excellent rubber strap variant, Tudor deserves to succeed and surpass their sibling. However, for me, the real jewel in the Tudor Watches and Wonders crown is the monochrome Black Bay, which harks back to days of the vintage Submariner. Only it's more attractive and desirable. I would pass on the oyster-style bracelet version because it's a bit too, well, you know, and select the rubber strap or 5-link bracelet, which are both too attractive for words and a bargain at under £4,000. Patek Philippe does denim. But why? What was happening in the Patek design room? Here we find what is arguably the pinnacle of watchmaking prowess, a brand that few can deny is at the top of the tree, with a new beautifully constructed World Time and a Nautilus, both of which sport straps that look like they were made from my old Levi 501s. Now if you recall, IWC gaffed with this material last year with a Top Gun chronograph, which received mixed reviews, so why would Patek risk the same derisive comments? One can only wonder, as the watches themselves, with matching blue dials, are works of art. Of course, it's possible I may have misjudged this completely, and I'm not remotely up to speed with current fashions, and I should be digging out my 1980s denim jacket. On the other hand, I feel that Tag Heuer is on fire. The brand is unquestionably on a resurgence, which you can see when you visit their boutiques and shops around the country. Gone are the doldrums of the 2010s, and at last, Tag Heuer is front and centre where they deserve to be. I can't mention their 2024 collection without referring to the new steel with red accent Carrera Bicompax chronograph in 39mm, which looks oh so nice in PR shots with Ryan Gosling. The watch is considered a rebirth of the Carrera legend and pays tribute to the iconic Heuer 7753SN. But for me, that wasn't the show's star. That accolade went to the 2024 Skipper. It's lovely to see this old model revived, despite succumbing to the current trend of making tool watches unaffordable by fashioning them in gold. Yet I still love the design, and I concede that the case colour is sublime. The in-house TH20-06 movement is a gem, and on show thanks to the big exhibition caseback, plus the watch retains the traditional 15-minute counter which commences all regatta races. I even like the fabric strap. I probably wouldn't bash the gold Skipper around on a sailing yacht, but I would wear it without hesitation on my super yacht with my next best friend Ryan Gosling. My wildcard suggestion is a brand that's been making great watches since the 1950s, but before I show you that, we need to take a breath and dive deep into my third miss of the show, which unfortunately is the U-Boat Unico Dark Moon. If you come from the UK or are familiar with our cuisine, you might understand the term Marmite. Suffice to say, it is a spread that divides the nation on taste and has drifted into our vocabulary to reflect something very divisive. For example, something is a bit Marmite. And the U-Boat Unico Dark Moon is a bit Marmite. Their offerings for Watches and Wonders 2024 have definitely reduced in size, yet they still have this clunky look, which just seems very early noughties to me. Surely they could evolve beyond that somehow. There is no denying that the new Sommerso Damascus, in steel of the same name, is striking, but the Unico Dark Moon just looks like a watch that's been left languishing under the ocean, unloved and leaking. I don't understand what look they were trying to achieve. So you're left asking, why? Some watches like the Doxa Clive Cussler or the Laco Erbstück range have been artificially aged to give them a more adventurous character, which I can almost understand. But this U-boat just looks like it's been abused and left to rot, so I'm not sure who the target audience is. It's certainly not me. Staying in the water, my hit number 4 is the updated Oris Aquis. You could be forgiven for thinking that the new Oris Aquis looks just like the old Oris Aquis, and you'd be right. But you'd also be wrong, because it is a different watch. They have reduced the case size and lugs to make a neat package, and all bar one comes as standard with the Oris 733 movement. This model is available with an upcycled ocean plastic dial, which spearheads the global watch industry's drive for sustainability. Oris could not be accused of tweaking for the sake of tweaking what is already a successful watch. No, they're genuinely trying to make it a little bit better with each change. And unlike so many of the more prominent brands, they're not charging you any more money for these improvements because their price rises are almost non-existent. The Aquis has always been a beautiful and desirable watch, and it's even more so now. My next miss is a bit of an odd one. It's the Nomos Tangente. Now, I want to be completely honest, I actually really like this watch. I love its simplicity. What I can't handle is 31 different colour palettes. Trying to pick one is like being faced with a paint chart with 20 variants of white, leaving you with absolutely no idea of what colour to paint your bathroom. Some of the Nomos colours are a bit garish and have very odd names like bubblegum and lemon biscuit, which sound like they have been lifted directly from the aforementioned paint chart. In colours like midnight blue and platinum, the Tangente is a beautiful looking watch, and I just feel that these more outlandish colours have cheapened the model a little, and act more as a distraction from what should be a sophisticated classic. My fifth hit of the show is the Cartier Santos Dual Time with a grey dial. It's powered by a Sellita SW330, a fine movement that allows you to control all functions, including the subdial, with one crown. When I think of dual time zone watches, my mind automatically drifts to aviation-inspired choices, and up till now, Cartier just hasn't been in the mix. Well, it is now. With grey on grey and various metallic tones, you would think this watch would be a nightmare to read, but it's not. Just goes to show you that with a great design, anything is possible. The watch trend of skeletonizing watches has never resonated with me, so it will always be a miss. This is a very personal view of the watches from the show, so I've got no qualms about saying I really don't like skeletonized watches. However, I do recognise there's a lot of you out there who really do. I don't mind an exhibition display caseback where I can see a beautiful movement working, but I absolutely detest seeing it from the front because it generally kills the legibility of the watch. I'm not going to pick on anyone in particular here, but if you look at the plethora of skeletonized watches in the show, like the Montblanc Minerva or the Baume & Mercier Riviera, you can see they're becoming more fashionable, especially as people are crafting their own in-house movements and want to show them off. I understand that watchmakers want to show off their capabilities, but it's not a trend that I'll ever be able to get my head around. I don't like them, and for me, this design characteristic kills some great watches. Which leaves me with watch number 11, my wild card from the show. And this is the one you might really want to consider buying. It's the Nevada Grecian F77. This brand has been the epitome of cool since the 1950s, when it was the chosen equipment for adventurous people travelling to far-flung places, and I became quite obsessed with them following the recent release of the Antarctic. The new F77, which sounds a bit like a fighter, is another reimagining, but this time they have turned a 1970s model into a thoroughly contemporary piece. By using grade 5 titanium, the F77 offers lightness and comfort. The iconic basket weave dial has been retained for one model and is now supported by 3 other versions with beautiful dials crafted from meteorite, lapis lazuli and adventurine. The new series of 4 watches have a user-friendly case diameter of 37mm with prominent faceted air markers and are powered by a Swiss Soprod P024 movement. All are priced at just over £1,000, representing great value for money, and so that's why I think a lot of watch enthusiasts will find the F77 very appealing. So there you have my hits and misses of Watches and Wonders 2024. As always, we'd love to hear your views, what you thought were successes, and what watches you thought should never see the light of day. Thanks as always for watching. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more good chats, and we'll see you soon for the next video.